Hello, I guess I am live now. Well, my name is MJ Klemenko, psychotherapist, hypnotherapist, and life coach, personal coach. Um, I haven't posted a video for at least 3 years, so I don't look the same as most of us don't. But I'm still MJ Klemenko, and I really wanted to start making videos again. See if I can get this right. This is my first one in so long, and I've never done it live before. So I guess live means someone could send me a text or log on or have some exchange. I'm not sure how this works. I was just looking for video recording software on YouTube. This is what I found. One of the reasons I haven't written blogs or posted anything over the approximately past 3 years is because, of course, of COVID. But we are so used to saying the word COVID that it's become just a catch all phrase. It doesn't hold the meaning that it did in the very beginning when most of us were terrified that we were going to be very ill or even die. Um, so at the beginning, when the uh, good doctor on television said it would be a month or two, probably before uh, we could get a handle on this disease, I was shocked. I was thinking a month or two of quarantining ourselves? Crazy. I don't recall any time, unless there's been a fire where we're not really quarantining, we just advised to stay in or chemical spill. But I don't recall any mass quarantine like what happened with COVID. I need to turn off the screen saver. Right? Well, thinking I was going to play. If I don't do this, you will see my face flashing on and off with light. I'm hoping it will stay the same now. Um, anyway, it just seemed impossible. It just seemed like that could not happen. We could not have a disease that was going to kill, what, as of 2 days ago, 1 million people in this country. And I recognize that there is and was a big division in this country around vaccinations and whether they were safe or they were not safe. And that was a whole subject in itself. But the reality is, we still, all of us, found ourselves in a state we'd never found ourselves in before. We couldn't go out unless we were wearing masks. And even if we were doing that, we didn't initially even know how the virus spread. So we were spraying down everything we came in contact with. And then people were dying. I mean, just watching the refrigerator trucks roll up to the back of New York City hospitals on the news I couldn't comprehend it. I couldn't, like, I could see it and I could think it was really sad, but it was so horrible, it didn't really compute. Like, I didn't think I felt as horrible as it was. It sounds odd, but if you know what I mean or you don't, it's okay. We'll go right along. Because then what happened is nobody had a social life. Or if you did, you probably got COVID and got really sick. And some of you got COVID and you're not hearing me now because you didn't make it. But your friends or relatives might be. We were having a tough time in this country before then. Many, if not most of us, were arguing for uh, a higher minimum wage, for better education, for affordable health care. Um, we had a list, and we really felt and still feel that those are very important things, but nothing like, oh, if I go outside and say hello to my mailman, I could die. No. Well, because my mailman became violent, but she's not. Uh, and then we didn't know what to do. We wore masks, we stayed in. Those of us who had partners or were living with others in the house were better off than those of us who were living alone because it would take a while for us to figure out how to make connections. All stayed within that circle so you can know that they were pretty safe. And then the vaccinations came along finally, and we thought, oh, goody, this is going to help. No, it didn't. Well, yes, it did, because not as many people died, but it was it was pretty dreadful all the way through, and it's still dreadful. I think many people are sick of it, and they are so sick of it they're not going to play anymore. It's like no, COVID doesn't exist anymore, and isn't that really what used to be the American way? It's like denial was great. No, it doesn't exist anymore. Only now, no, it doesn't exist anymore could get us killed. Probably not if you're under the age of 50, but maybe I'm as a psychotherapist and a coach, I've had several people lose young people in their family to COVID. So it didn't only kill the elderly or the ill or the immune compromised people. Um, Killed a lot of people, a million people's a lot of people. And there was so much arguing going on about what it was like. The president at the time said, oh, just like getting the flu, never mind. And doctors at the time said, nah, you better mind because this is very bad. And we were hoping we really didn't have to mind. We didn't want to mind. We're Americans. We don't like to mind. But we also like to be civilized, so we have to play by certain rules, and most of us do. Um, but that's not the kid in us. The kid in us just wants to be spoiled and indulged and get whatever we want whenever we want it. It's happened to all of you, right? So, one of the things that was severely impacted were relationships, especially young relationships. I felt so sorry and still feel so sorry for the young people I work with because this 3 years has taken a chunk right out of their development or your development if you're the young person watching me. You didn't do anything. You didn't deserve this. Developmentally, it was a terrible time for you. Old people were more likely to die, but at least we'd live. And a lot of you hadn't even begun to live yet. So, so I watched and I tried to help. I saw a lot more depression, a lot more anxiety, a lot more relationship problems. Um, with teenagers, if they weren't depressed, they were just stunned. And if they weren't depressed or stunned, they weren't playing by the rules and they weren't masking up. Excuse me. A lot of those kids got really sick. and some of them did die. Great. That's asthma at its finest.